Hello! Welcome to Inky Art School. This video was a live class I held on Facebook as part of my free 10-day Inky Art School course. You can watch all 10 videos and get the free downloads I mention at www.johannabasford.com/Inky Art School. I'll pop a link below. And if you like this class, be sure to check out my book, How to Draw Inky Wonderlands. It's jam-packed with easy-to-follow, step-by-step tutorials, creative project ideas, and of course, it wouldn't be an Inky Adventure without some pages to colour. Thanks for watching and have fun. Hello everybody, I am so sorry I'm late. Imagine that, your teacher being late to school. True story, the password expired on my computer and I couldn't get the thing turned on or logged in. I had to go through every variation of every password I've ever made up in my life. And you know how after a while they're like that, your password's expired, you need to put in a new one. So I tend to just do variations of the same thing and then go off on these weird tangents. And yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking of every memorable word and number combination that I can think of. Anyway, crack the code. There you go. I'm in. Thank goodness. I was like, what am I going to do? I might have to do this on my phone and just hold it. We're here. If you can hear me, could you please give me a thumbs up? A bit of love. Yeah, okay, fine. Thank you, everyone. That was worrying. And I also thought, what if I never remember it? What if I can never remember the password for this computer and I'm just locked out forever? Does that happen? Who knows? Welcome to day 5 of Inky Art School. I can barely believe we are on day 5. It's almost halfway through. Thank you so much to everybody who has been on this Inky adventure with me. I sent out an email this morning. I sent out an Inky Art School email last night just to recap how to get the group, the fact that the files and these videos will be on the group forever. So after the 10 days Inky Art School are complete, the group will be archived, which means you can still access all those good things. The community aspect of it shuts down, so we can't accept any more comments and I won't post any more stuff on there, but everything will be there, like a library of information for you forever and ever, or until Facebook does something weird shuts itself down or makes you pay to join a group or something odd. But those things will be there. Let's crack on with today. You're going to have to excuse me, I don't have my 3 images printed out from the gallery. I had them all saved on the computer, but I just didn't have time to print them out because of the password chaos. So we'll do 6 on Monday, just quickly, and I'll post links to the ones. I'll repost the pictures that I would have shown so that you guys still get your moment of glory, because there is some really pretty ones. Talking of the gallery, thank you so much to everybody who has been sharing their artwork. I noticed this morning that I'm liking, giving it the little love heart, and it's not counting on the images. So the comments are showing up, but none of the likes are. So I'm going to take a little look today and see if maybe you can only like so many pictures in a day or something, and me doing a few hundred is upsetting Facebook. But thank you so much. I'm looking at them all and they're amazing. Did any of you think on Monday that you would be doing the artwork that you are today? I don't know if you were, but I mean, it's so cool, and the stories are so inspiring. Well done, really well done. You do get Saturday and Sunday off, by the way. Somebody asked that yesterday. No Inky Art School Saturday and Sunday, but I'll see you back here on Monday. So let's crack on with this. Today we're going to speak a little bit about comparison. So a lot of people told me that something that stops them from drawing is that they feel that they're not good enough, or that their drawings aren't as good as other people's. And even now I see people commenting when they're sharing posts about their work, oh, it's not as good as it could be, or I feel like it doesn't look like an adult did it, or really. It's sort of it hurts your heart to read those things, because we would never say that about somebody else's stuff. So why say it about your own work? We are our own worst enemies, and we're so cruel to ourselves. You literally would never say that to another person, yet you would say it to yourself. And the thing that I want you all to remember is that you should not compare your work or yourself to anyone else, particularly somebody on the internet. And I know that's ironic because I am speaking to you via the internet. But, you know, it's not comparable. And when I had my my kids, somebody told me comparison is the thief of joy. And that's so true. And when it comes to kids, you can't compare them. So why would we compare each other and our work? The only thing that you should compare your work to is the work you did yesterday. And as long as everything that you do is better than the stuff you did yesterday, you're on an upwards tangent. And that's really important. Another thing is, when you look at social media, it is a glossy highlight reel, and what you are seeing is someone else's very heavily selected image that they've then edited and probably filtered and put on the internet. And that's somebody else's end point in their creative process, unless they declare it as a work in progress, which is a WIP, if you ever see that, work in progress. And you can't compare, you know, your part done image with their masterpiece or finished piece. And you also can't compare the start of your creative journey with what might be, you know, a good few years in for them. And there's that saying, you know, about it takes 1,000 hours to really master a skill. You might be in hour 16. You can't compare yourself to someone that's hour 899. Like, that is just not comparable. So don't do it to yourselves. You'll find you're happier, you enjoy your creative practice more, and yeah, you'll just get more out of it. So please stop comparing yourselves. I know it's easier said than done. So that's that. Next up, I want to quickly speak about leads in your pencils. So folks, I use this pencil. This is a Staedtler Mars Micro 0.5mm HB pencil. Somebody asked, how do you change the leads in this? Because it's like a little clicky pencil. I, up until now, have been pushing down this, pulling this out, and then sliding a new one in. God bless the internet, I didn't realise. You take this off. There's an eraser here. Who knew? I've never actually used it. Be careful, folks, it might be a dodgy one. And then there's this hole, and you just tip your leads in there. Honestly, somebody left that as a comment and said how to do it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes much more sense than the way that I've been doing it, which is kind of like you're reverse feeding a needle into a syringe. So there you go, folks, new leads in the top. You learn something new every day. Next up, we're going to speak about paper. So there's been a lot of questions. What is layout paper? Why can't I get it where I am? Do I really need it? Could we use something else? So here is the skinny on paper, so to speak. I'm going to switch my cameras over. So I have a plethora of papers to show you. This is tracing paper. All of these three are Daler Rowney. That just happens to be because I really like their papers. But you can get different brands, obviously, and completely unbranded. So, with my glass of water. This is tracing paper. It's like frosted glass, but it's thin enough that you can see through it to trace. See, like, you can totally see through that. We're going to use tracing paper today for part of the tutorial. It's really super, super smooth. If you put ink on it, I'll show you just now. It glides really easily, and it also smudges really easily. So I wouldn't draw on this normally, and also even if you did do a drawing on this, it's like frosted glass, like I said. Like it's a little bit weird, like a steamy kind of shower window. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So it's not the best drawing paper. This is what I would call like a technical paper, like it has a purpose. Next up is layout paper. This is the stuff that I love. It is 45 grams, which is like the weight of the paper, the thickness. So this is white. It's still fairly see-through, so I can draw on it, layer it up. Let me do a side-by-side comparison for you. But it is white, so if you were to complete a drawing on this, you could frame it or colour it. See, you couldn't really colour on tracing paper, and you'd be fine. So look, here we go. This is one sheet of each. This is the layout paper, so you can see through it enough to trace. It's white. You could colour on this. You could use colouring pencils. You can ink it, and the ink seeps in nicely. And this is the tracing paper. Super see-through, but you're not going to make something really pretty that you want to put in your wall on this stuff. Okay, next up we have marker paper. This one is 70 grams, so it's a little bit thicker. You can see through it. It's a little bit thicker. I don't actually draw on this that much, but the ink goes on it really nicely. I read somewhere, somebody left a comment saying that it was coated. I don't know if it is. It doesn't feel coated. Like, the pen goes on it really nicely. Let me see. No, it doesn't say anything. Marker paper. Dum 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 dum. No. And look, these symbols mean it's for pencil and ink. So I think marker paper is a good alternative. Again, it doesn't need to be Dalla Rowney, but it is just that little bit thicker than the layout paper. So let's do another comparison. So this is the marker paper on the top. I've put a glass of water over here. It's just the most annoying place I could have put it. I don't know what I was thinking. Here we go. It's better. So the marker paper is definitely thicker. The layout paper is a bit thinner. I would say this one's also a bit whiter. And then this is good old office copy paper. So the long and the short of it is, guys, you do not have to draw on layout paper. However, it does have its advantages. If you can't get layout paper where you are, look for a very thin paper. Marker paper I don't think is coated, or if it is, it's not coated in a way that would like repel your pen. I wouldn't draw on tracing paper and try and colour on tracing paper. It's a technical paper, and I think it's just, I don't know, it makes my toes curl a little bit. I can't think of what the equivalent would be. I want to say like brushing your hair with a toothbrush. It's just like the wrong thing for the wrong job. That's what I'm trying to say. But office paper is totally fine. If you're using a sketchbook, I don't think you need to use necessarily an art sketchbook. Art sketchbooks tend to have quite thick cartridge paper in them because they're for mixed media. They need to be a thick enough paper with a deep enough tooth? I don't know. You know what I mean, like the texture to take things like oil pastels, marker pens, Poscas, potentially paint. So they soak all those things up, and that's not necessarily good for the kind of drawing that we're doing. I actually use notebooks. So Moleskine obviously do beautiful notebooks, however they are quite expensive. A cheaper alternative is Muji, M-U-J-I, who, the Japanese company, love their stuff. But you don't even need to get a branded notebook. Quite often I'll get one from the supermarket for like £3-4. Just as good. You just want really nice smooth paper, no lines, no dots, no grids. There you go. Alright, that's what, I mean, we're all out now because it's saying 22 minutes past 3, but we started late due to password gate. So I think we just crack on with today's tutorial. Just seeing if I can make, Jamie's written tracing paper has a stained glass effect. Yeah, that's right, it is. And if that's what you want, perfecto. But if you're looking for something that you can then work into, it might be a bit difficult. Vellum paper is similar to tracing paper. I am like all afluster today. Like, what do I need? Today we're going to do symmetrical crests. Let me get all my bits and pieces. You should have had your square paper download printed out, or your sheet of squared paper. I'm just going to grab mine. Do you know what else happened today? I got an email to say I'd missed the cut-off date for paying for my daughters, both of them, next block of swimming lessons. You have to be on that waiting list forever. Anyone who has ever waited to get their kid into swimming knows what a panic it is when you think they're going to lose their space. So I was also, whilst trying to work out my password, on the phone to them going, please keep their spaces. I will literally run down as soon as I'm finished my live video. So that's what I'm going to do. If anyone sees me running through the streets of Ellen, that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to get to the swimming pool to prevent them from selling my kids' swimming lesson space. Bless them, they said they would hold it for me. Right, let's get on with this. So we are going to be doing, let me show you the page in the book. So if you have your book, How to Draw Inky Wonderlands, this is the page that we're going to be basing today's tutorials on. And these, let me zoom in, these little flourishes are super easy to make. You don't need a computer, but they're so pretty and they've got so many really good uses, which, as you know, I like. So we are going to grab our paper. I'm going to work on my layout paper because you know that I love it. And what I'm going to do is just slip my sheet of squared paper, and these squares are 5mm squares. Yep. So that gives you an idea of scale. Let me just do this so you can see it. So just make sure that your tracing paper is roughly like that, or take into account the scale change. And pop your sheet under here. So as you can see the grids under there. I'm fully zoomed in. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with my ruler or a straight edge of whatever you're using. You can use the edge of a notebook and draw a straight line. And then I'm going to draw one like this as well, just to keep me on track. Let's line this up a bit. So this is going to be our axis of symmetry. So what's on this side will be replicated on this side. And you can use this basic symmetry technique for so many different things. Butterflies, crests, I'm trying to think what else. Butterflies, crests, crabs. I'm actually just thinking of things that's in the book. Anything that's symmetrical, this will work. So let's start off with quite a basic kind of flourishy one. I am going to draw a curl here that comes down like this, up into here. So it's kind of like an S on its side. And I'll get the basic curl shape all sorted. Now you'll see I've not gone right up to the line there. There's a wee gap. There we go. Now I'm going to add maybe a little bit here. And let's do something here. So that is our basic shape. Now I am going to thicken it up. Like this. Maybe make that a little... What is that? Like a little bud, I suppose. I find these kind of things are really pleasing to draw. They're sort of like the little Baroque flourishes that you get on fancy calligraphy bits of art, or you would see them sort of carved into really fancy furniture. Just really lovely to draw. So that's all made into like a double line, if you like. And we're going to add a few, I'll add a few leaves. Do one here. I'm going to leave this bit for now. I'll do that. Actually, no, I'm going to do this. You'll see why in a minute. Do one leaf there, and we'll do one here. And what we'll do, let's do two. I'm just going to keep this one really simple because it's the first one. So there's like our leafy little flourish. Now grab your tracing paper or your baking parchment or your vellum paper. Just going to use that bit with that smudgy wiggle on it that we did earlier, and put your tracing paper over the top. So as you can see, it is so easy to trace through this stuff. Okay, I am going to draw a straight line again. I should really have used my ruler, but never mind. There it is. And I'm also going to draw this line here. I'm going to use my ruler this time. Tidy this up. Now just trace these lines here. Exactly as it is below. Oh, do you know what? I've just remembered something I've forgotten to get. I'm going to have to run off and grab a different type of pencil in a second. And none of you will have this pencil either because I forgot to put it in the list. Sorry. Oh. Do you know what? That was the frustration of remembering that I've forgotten something, and I was pressing harder, obviously, and the pencil edge just snapped. It's like emotional drawing. Okay, so there we go. We've traced over that. You guys catch up. Let me grab a pencil. I've just grabbed what I would call like a normal traditional pencil. So this is like a HB. I would usually actually go a bit softer. I would usually go like a B or a 2B. In my head, every time I say 2B, all I can hear is like my cheesy dad giving out to be or not to be. That is the question. Right, so we have traced over that, and then look, see the one below is still there. Here's the one that we just copied. What we do now, folks, is we turn this over. So now the side that we just drew is facing down, and we line it up. So we get your crosshairs exactly matched up, like that. Okay, now hold it in place with this hand. Take your 2B pencil and using the side of the lead, so not like this, more like this, we're going to scribble on the back and transfer this drawing onto the page below, like this. Okay, if you use a hard pencil, it's just really scratchy and horrible. This one seems to be okay. Right, and then moment of truth, lift this off. And as you can see, your picture is there, both sides of it. So yes, one side is darker than the other, but as you see in a minute, that is not going to matter. Okay, so there we have it, our fully drawn crest. Here, there's a bit of a gap, so I am going to draw a little circle here, and I'm maybe going to add another little dot here and a little dot here. It kind of changes when you see it fully drawn. Like, I didn't really think about those dots earlier, but now I quite like them. And that little dot just means there's not like a full-on gap, it's just a little joiner to keep two halves together. Now we're going to ink it. I don't know if this might be quite difficult to see through a layer of trace. We might have to do the erase technique. Oh no, I can see it. This is the way that I like to do it. If you want to ink over your paper and then, ink over your pencil and then erase, that is totally okay. Do you know what? I've treated myself to a new set of pens today. This is a lovely set. You get in it all these 6 pens. Oh, let me do it the right way up for you. Silly. So this is the one that I usually draw with. This is amazing for details. The nib's tiny. This is the one I've been doing most of the tutorials with, and these two are quite big but still super useful, and a 1 is always lovely. If I'm writing a shopping list or something, I like a 0.2. This is the pen that I use the most in the world ever. But we'll use the 0.3 today. Oh, I love using a new pen. So now we are just going to ink those lines that we just drew below. I have jam jars all over the studio full of pens, but obviously the more you use them, the more the ink gets run down, and I can press quite hard at times, so the nibs tend to sort of get pushed up into the barrel of the pen, And the last few days, every time I've come to ink a drawing during a tutorial, I've just thought that this pen that I was using was super close on its last legs, and I should get a new one for the next day. So I finally have, and it is a joy. It's like all crisp and super inky and precise. I do a little dot there. And now we do the other side. Actually, that was such a bad lesson. I should have done this side first, because now my hand's going to be in the wet ink. So I'm just going to be really careful and try and do it so that my hand doesn't go onto the wet side. But normally you should always work so that your hand is passing over blank paper and not wet ink. I can't even pretend to be able to do that like that, guys. I have to rotate the page. Okay, these are lovely on like wedding invitations, calendars, stationery. What else? Oh, did I do something wrong there? Oh yeah, look, I've forgotten to. Silly. Just do that. So as you look, I forgot that that was going to join onto there, so that will annoy me. I'm just going to add an extra line there to make that the same. That's because I was gassing about wedding invitations. Inking these little leaves. So when I'm doing these for the book, I actually just draw half, scan it into the computer, and then use the computer to flip the symmetry. But when I was in art school and when I was just starting out, I did it exactly the way that I've just shown you, and it works perfectly. It's just a little bit slower and a bit less precise, but I quite like that it's less precise. I always think that that's a downside of doing it on a computer, that it is exactly spot on. You want it to be a little bit more characterful. Is that the same? Yeah. I'm going to do another little dot there as well, actually. Okay, and then when you take away your piece below, this is what you're left with. Oh, let me just line that up. I think that's really sweet, and it was so easy. And you can use that basic principle, and instead of doing leaves, add some little flowers, add some stars, some spots, loads of different things. Let's do another one. This one is a little bit fancier. I'm going to go back to my drawing page. So actually, I'm going to take a new sheet because that's just an accident waiting to happen. You would easily manage to do these all on the same sheet of paper, but I just don't want to smudge it in front of you guys. Makes for bad TV. So, sheet underneath again, squared sheet of paper. Grab your ruler. Draw your axes. This time we're going to do one that overlaps this line. So what you want to do is give yourself a good bit of clearance. And by that I mean don't do it sort of right up to the line, because what we're going to have is eventually that they're going to weave like this. I can't explain with my hands. I'll show you with my drawing. So we'll maybe do this one. Imagine, what are those like paste biscuits that look this shape? They've got like a funny French name. Like shortbready, almondy things. Draw that shape. And, oh, there's a kid outside. And we'll do a bit like this. So even though that's gone over there, actually, I'm going to extend this a bit more so there's even more of it over. You'll see why in a second. So this will be our basic curl shape. We've got the fancy French shortbread biscuit and then like a tail on the end with an extra curl here. And then we're just going to build it up from there. Somebody's asking about using the computer. Yeah, I actually think I'm going to just do some YouTube videos on that. I wouldn't ever do a course on that and combine it with this kind of stuff because it is quite specialist, and I just think most people don't have a computer and Photoshop and a scanner, and I think it's more important to learn to draw with a pencil first. So, and also I've seen quite a lot of courses that are really good at explaining the digital side of things. I actually have to look at quite a few YouTube videos to work out certain things. For example, the other day my Photoshop, which is like the computer program that I use, was jammed on capital letters. So every time I wrote text into a picture or a document or sketch, it was coming out in great big shouty capitals. But luckily, as ever, there was a YouTube tutorial telling me how to fix it. Okay, so that's our wee cuddles. And then I'm gonna add, will I add that? I'm gonna do some little like teardroppy flourishy bits here. Let's do some here as well. And then these kind of look a bit like splashes. I'll do a few here. You want to keep this bit completely sparse. You'll see why in just a second. But about here would be okay to put another teardrop. This would be your cut-off zone. You'll see why in just a second. And then let's do some little flowery bits. A little leaf like that. I think that's us. Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I don't, yeah, it is us. I would just add and add and add, but I'm just faffing. Okay. So that's our basic shape. Now we do the tracing paper. Just going to use this bit. Ignore that. I just don't like wasting paper. Which I know like lots of you won't believe because I seem to waste it all the time, but I don't. Copy our axis of symmetry. And then copy our flourish. So if you're working on a thicker paper, like a watercolour paper or a cartridge paper or a crafting paper, you could use a light box to help you at this stage. If you're working on like just normal office copy paper, you're going to be fine. Okay, so that is our tracing done. Now remember, you lift off your tracing paper. So there's the one below. There's the one that we just traced. There's the one below. There's the one we just traced. Turn that over. Line it up. Now look what's happened. Ta-da! It's sort of overlapped and crossed over. I'll show you something even better in a second. Oh, now look, this isn't going to exactly line up. Why is that? It's not exactly straight. We'll get it as close as we can. I'm actually, now that I see it, going to push this, nudge it this way a little bit. So it's lined up on this line, but not on this line. I'm okay with that. I can live with it. and sort of place it so that the overlap looks nice. I think it looks better with a more of a overlap like that. Hold it down. Let me just move this here. Hold it down with this hand, like this. Grab your traditional pencil and remember to use the side of the pencil. Just give it a scribble. And then we're going to lift it up. And go, do you know, it's quite light just on this bit. And go over that. So when I'm lifting it up, I'm making sure it doesn't move. I'm holding it in place, because if you lift it up and it moves a little bit, and then you do that again, you're going to get like a double image. But basically, the harder you push within reason, the more of the graphite comes through. Push too hard though, or do like this, it's going to rip. You need to do this. Okay, there we go. So that's our overlap. Now, here's a fun part. So what we're going to do is we're going to have this part, this side, be overlapping up on the top here, like this. And then we're going to have this side be on the top here, which means it will be like this. And this one will go underneath it. And that looks, just makes the two sides intertwine. So you have one side on the top on the first crossover, and then you have the opposite side on the top on the second crossover. And that gives it that sort of interlocked look. Let's ink this bad boy. Oh, I have 4% battery left in my computer. I'm going to leave this here for you to look at while I grab a charger. 2 seconds, folks. I don't film off my laptop, but I like to have my laptop with the page open beside me, because that is how I can see your comments. There we go. Bit of juice. Okay, let's ink this. So I'm going to put a new sheet over the top. We're going to start inking on this side because I'm right-handed. Remembered myself this time. Okay, so I'm using my 0. Oh, look at that feathered ink there. 0.3, and we're just going to go over all these lines, and just when you get to the overlap bit, slow down, take your time, because you kind of need to think it through. Oh, I've just completely made that bit up. Never mind, we'll add that in. So this side is going to be on the top on the first crossover, so we miss a gap, or actually we could even draw it in. And then just fill that in out there. The other side, this side's going to be on the top here, so we're fine to go ahead and just ink this bit all the way down to there. Now we'll do this bit. I seem to have added an extra little bud here, so I'll just do 2 here as well. Keep us even, Stephen. Done that differently. There you go. Right, so I think so. I'm going to add some flourishes and details, so a couple little dots on all these leaves. I think it looks nice if you do the first dot quite hard and then the second one just the tiniest little flick, so it's like a larger one than a smaller one. I'm going to do some little lines in these buds. I'm going to do some dots here. And I'm going to do some dots on the actual tangles. So I've done them almost like there would be a shadow, so on the one that's going underneath on the crossovers. And then let's do a bit here. You don't need to worry if this isn't symmetrical. To be honest, I sort of just do it in the bits where the tangle is a bit wider, because otherwise it's too fiddly to get in about. Let's do a few here. And I'll do a little line there. Okay, that's kind of us. Quite like that. I think we've done okay. We'll take the tracing one out from beneath, and there you have it. Kind of doubled over, interlocking, tangly flourish. I'm going to trademark that name because it just has winner all over it. Okay. Somebody's asking about holding the paper down. Be really, really careful if you're going to start using tape. The only tape that I recommend is, I'm just going to get it for you, this stuff. This is the only tape that I use. This is Scotch Magic tape. So as you can see, it looks a little bit frosted. You just rip it off like that. It's super low tack and see-through, so you can use it to join all your drawings up like that, and then it will always peel off without ripping your paper or leaving any sticky marks. And for anyone that does work digitally, you can scan this and it's okay. Masking tape is likely to leave varying levels of tack, which is like the glue. And washi tape, I've seen do the same thing, because there's so many different kinds of washi tape. If you find a kind and a brand that you really like and that you're safe with, that's fine. Washi tape for me seems a bit hit or miss, probably because I buy so much of it on the internet and it's coming from different sellers. Definitely masking tape. You get some really high tack masking tapes and you will never ever get that off your paper again. I might see if I can find a packet. If I can't find a packet to show you, I'm just writing myself a note, Scotch tape, I will literally just wrote Scotch tape in the corner of that. I'll post a link to the one that I use so that you can see. Okie dokie. How are we doing for time? We've got time to do, yeah. Let's tackle the crest. So I'm going to just kind of go through the crest quite quickly. I'm sure some of you are like, what the hell? It's really quick anyway. But I want to show you it because it's a tutorial that's in the book. And I just think so often with these kind of things, when you see it done, it makes so much of what's written in the book or shown in the book just like fall into place, and you're like, aha. So this is the page from the book that we're going to do, and it's a really good step-by-step tutorial. It shows you exactly what to do. And then here on this side is one of the pages that you could colour or embellish yourself. So this is a crest that I've completed for you, but it's just the outlines. So there's plenty space there for you to add loads of inky details. For example, I can't help myself, I would be doing things like this and adding details to the flowers, and then I would colour it in. And it's colouring grade paper, so this is one of those lovely pages where there's something to draw and space to colour. I must stop. Okay, stop. But yeah, that's what I would do. Let me just show you what I just did. Just added some teeny tiny details to that flower and to that bluebell. You can see the undone ones there. Okay, so let's quickly try and do a bit of this crest. So these are fab for logos, business cards, business names, wedding invitations, decorating the front of your school jotter notebook. So we have our square paper underneath. Oh, let me guess so that we're in a decent position on the page. Draw a straight line and a right angle one. What do you call it? It's not perpendicular. What is it called when one line meets at a right angle? Clearly, all my time at school is paid off. Now, this is the space that's going to be there to have your name or whatever, your quote that you want written in it. So we just mark that off. So eventually, this is the axis of symmetry. This will be where you can write something. If you have one of my colouring books, this book belongs to crest is done exactly like this, and this is where we would put the text. Now I'm going to mark off where we're going to have some fairly large blooms. We'll have one there, we'll have one here, and do one here, a little one here, a little here, and one here. So for ones that are near the centre, they have to overlap exactly. So for example, don't do one like that. The centre, this line has to go through, dissect the centre of the circle. That's fine. And then I'm going to draw the rough shape of the crest. So this is kind of like the shape of the final piece. We'll have it almost that shape, I think. So you can already kind of see how the crest is going to take shape. Now let's make these some little flowers. Daisy flowers, super easy. Circle, top and bottom, left and right, a couple in each gap. Once again, mark the centre, top, bottom, left, right, couple in each gap. Or, here's a different way to think about it. Mark centre, 12, 6, 9, 3. You're imagining this is a clock face. And then a couple in each gap. And you can do any kind of flowers in here. Like, we have done some really pretty ones in the... Oh, I've just remembered we're meant to be doing ocean today. I told you, I just default back to flowers every time. Tomorrow, I promise, is ocean themed, but I won't forget to stay on track. Those flourishes were from the ocean section of the book, like the actual tutorials in the book, and they're all seaweedy and got starfish in them. And then today, I just default back to flowers every time. Okay, so there we have it. Some quite fast, basic flowers. Now I'm going to add some leaves. Again, make sure anything that comes across this centre line is lined up and symmetrical. So for example, here's our centre line. We're going to have a leaf here. We're going to have a leaf here. And then once you've tackled anything hitting the line, you don't need to worry so much. So for example, we're fine to have one here. Let's do a couple here. Let's do one like this. Do a big one here. And one like that. Maybe one like this. So it's okay to have things sort of coming over this line here. You just want to be wary that you don't want it all the way in. I'm going to add another one here. Now we're going to do some little tangly vine things in the bigger gaps. So I like to draw the vine first and then the leaf. Bit of a gap there. I'll tackle that later. And I'm also going to join everything up. So I'll link this flower into here, this one into there, this one into there. Oh, that doesn't really flow. Hold on. This one into there. This one into here. I'll do this one into here. Some smaller leaves coming off of that. I think that's pretty much us. Okay, that is our basic, quick crest. Yeah, strong. Now, we'll trace it. I'm going to get my tracing paper. I'm going to take a new sheet. This is quite a big piece. So to give you an idea of scale, that's it on an A4 sheet of paper. So it's like 10 centimetres by 5. Just going to get my sheet of tracing paper out. Now, because this flower is in the middle, I won't trace it again. What I would just do is draw the circles so that you can actually forget it myself, ignore me. The first thing you should do when your tracing paper is on top is to mark your axis of symmetry. That's why you're better off buying the book, because you don't make any mistakes. You can trust the book. Right, there we go. Big flowers in, and our leaves. So those are just sort of placeholders because we're not going to draw them again because we've actually drawn this side already. We'll add these little leaves in. I'm going to draw these flowers. I know we're going to go over the hour today, guys, and I know I was also late, so sorry for anyone who's having to rush off to go to work, pick up the kids, get back to work. You folks that are hiding at work doing this are just making me laugh so much, but thank you. I love how dedicated you are. We'll put this in like this. Tomorrow, how about a chat about what's on tomorrow before... Oh no, nothing's on tomorrow. It's Saturday tomorrow. Forgot. I have to go and get school shoes for my kids tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm getting school shoes. On Monday, Monday's Inky Art School, we are going to do a draw along, an ocean themed one, as promised. You probably actually saw a sneak preview of the download earlier when I was demonstrating the difference between all the papers. So I will give you the download as as soon as I've finished this, but you can also use the page in the book. The page of the book is obviously on our lovely colouring book grade paper. Don't be nervous about drawing on that. You can just draw in pencil first, get it the way that you want it, then ink it. It's not that you have to worry about putting lines where you might regret them or anything like that. Oh, by the way, while we're talking about this, somebody posted a picture of Secret Garden the other day, and they'd started to draw in the pages that, you know, have the sort of partially filled drawings for you to complete, and they'd gone back, and now that they knew how to tackle some basic wildflowers and blooms from the Inky Art School course, they were filling in those pages in their colouring book. I was like, yes, this is exactly why I wanted to do this. Okay, let's do that. Oh, and don't forget to sketch this outer edge too. We'll see why in a minute. Okay, so that's us, the under one there. That's the tracing paper. Flip her over and line it up. It's pretty good. We'll go with that. Grab your, look at the, can you see that? Like, that's what happens when you trace, like your pencil lead goes all weird. I'm gonna see if this one's gonna work. I might need to go and get a different pencil. We're sort of down to the cedar bit. I actually think, I know somebody was asking about tape, I think you're better holding this when you are tracing. I think you'd be fine to tape it when you're inking, especially if you're doing something really big and you need to go away and come back again. Personally, I don't. I prefer just to hold it, but you're totally fine to. But when you're tracing, you need to be, I'm pushing quite hard with this hand, this one here, folks, down to hold this in place, because if it moves even slightly, you're going to get like a blurry image. It'll look like a double exposure in a photograph. If anyone's really old and can remember what photographs look like when they used to get doubly exposed. Right, there we go. Oh, do you know what I forgot to do? Oh, it doesn't matter. I was going to say I forgot to do that rectangle, but you don't really need that, so we're okay. Guys, I'm going to go along because I want to ink this just to show you. So please hop off if you need to go and start your day. I'm sorry that the timing was a little bit different today, but I'll just be here inking this. You can hop back later in your day and catch up and see what's what. Okay, so for anyone that's hanging around, let's ink this. So that 1,000 hours that I mentioned earlier, if you Google it, like how long does it take to learn a skill, I think some scientist had done an experiment where they were tracking the performance of violin students at a really famous music school, and they wanted to see how long it took for them to become really good, or to become amazing, or to, you know, just be like orchestra level. And they found that this mark of 1,000 hours of practice was where somebody went from being really good to being like master level. The word Jedi springs to mind. That's because I live in a house full of Star Wars fans. But it's that kind of idea. But I think you don't have to have done 1,000 hours. It's not like we're on this wheel where you're trying to rack up your 1,000 hours. I think with creativity, the more you do it, obviously, the better you get. And you're going to be so much better at 16 hours than you were at 2 hours. And already this week, if you've been following along with this, you're already 5 hours in. So it's that easy to just sort of rack up a bit of practice. And instead of focusing on your time and how many hours you've banked, I think it's better to do it often. And I also think you're better to have a small, achievable focus and aim that gives you a boost than to have some ridiculous target that you're never going to manage and then you just feel rubbish when you don't manage it. It's a bit like, this is how I think about it, the Fitbit. Who's got one of these watches? So I'm sure there are some people that think Fitbits are a fad and are just a well-marketed piece of junk, and that people should stop mucking about and trying to get 10,000 steps a day, and they should just hit the gym and do a 1 hour workout. And that's fine, and I'm sure that probably is good for you every day, but I can't do that. I've tried and I can't do it, and I just feel rubbish when I don't manage. But I can hit 10,000 steps a day. It's a small, achievable thing that I can do towards my health that I think has a huge benefit for me. And because I'm managing to do that, I actually probably do go to the gym much more now than I ever did before. But it's just because you've got your confidence. So instead of thinking, I need to sign up for this art class, an evening school, I need to buy all the equipment, I need to practice my art 4 hours a day, I need to be watching these seminars, I need to have a painting in a gallery by such and such a date. No. Get a notebook and just see if you can draw for 10 minutes every day for like 30 days. Like, lower the bar to that. You don't even have to draw for 10 minutes. Just say you're going to draw one flower every day for 30 days and see how you get on. I think that is such a better mindset. The less ambitious but more achievable goal is just so much better for us. So no, I'm not aiming to run a marathon, but I will get my 10,000 steps every day as a bare minimum. Talking of running marathons, this is a good story about changing goals. I think it's totally okay to change your goal. Here's a good story. I have trained for 3 marathons. Done the training program, done all the running, paid my entry, got my number, had my shoes ready for 2 of them. But I have run and finished 0. Like, actually not even crossed the start line on any marathons ever. And you might be thinking, well, that's really rubbish. You said you were going to do it. You obviously didn't commit. Blah, 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 blah. No, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Marathon number 1, I got a knee injury, couldn't run. Marathon number 2, found out I was pregnant, couldn't run because of the stage of the pregnancy. Marathon number 3, which was just last summer actually, I just was totally overwhelmed with work, hadn't done enough training, knew I couldn't finish a 26.2 mile run. So instead I ran 2 half marathons, and obviously I had my baby and I recovered my injured knee. So the moral of the story is, I think it's like totally okay to change your goals. We shouldn't be so fixed in our mindset about one specific thing that we then don't take into changes in circumstances, and we're just kind of like flogging a dead horse. I know you know what I mean. So if you said to yourself years ago, I am going to learn to oil paint and I am going to do this painting of our family, and it's going to hang on the wall as a future family heirloom. And you know what, your paints have sat in the corner, you went to a couple of classes, you never really got back to it. Just bin that ambition off. Just change that goal. Why not say instead, I'm going to make 3 Christmas cards this year for my friends, or like 3 special members of my family, and that's it. And see if you can do that instead. And I bet you'll love it. I bet you do it. And I bet you it's the start of something really super cool, and that gives you the confidence to carry on being creative. And here ends the rant. Right, I'm going to add a few wee dots. Oh, I've forgotten that a little bit to here. Now, I'm gonna grab a finer pen. What is this that we're using? 0.3. I'm gonna use a 0.1 and add some little veins. Again, I don't really mind if these aren't symmetrical. So do some of the lines quite far apart, some a bit closer together. You could leave some just as a centre vein. I'm getting my veins and my vines mixed up. I'm going to do some dots in here. So again, when I do these for the book, if you have a look at the This Book Belongs to crest on any of your books, it will be perfectly symmetrical because I've done it on the computer, but didn't need to be. Could have been done like this. Would have been just as nice. And you can definitely do this kind of technique without a computer. You can make beautiful crests using any kind of theme or artwork. We could have done just a leafy one that would have been like a fall autumn crest. We could have done one that was all like twisty vines and thorns and scary looking stuff for Halloween. Halloween tutorial coming up next week, by the way, folks. Get ready. We're going to do it on the Tuesday, I've decided. Okay. And then you could leave it at that. You could. But what I would do is then get my pen, and you see these little gaps here. I would colour them in black because I like it when it's a little bit more dense. This is totally a personal preference. I'll do a few bits so that you can see, and then I'll finish this later and put a photo on it because I realise that I'm just using up everyone's precious time. Anyway, I'll keep going with that and you'll see, but that is the basic idea. And then you would take away your tracing paper and you're left with that. It's been a long class today. Folks, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for bearing with me while I forgot my password, remembered my password, panicked about swimming lessons. Next week, Monday, class begins again, 3 o'clock on Monday, here live. Video will be posted afterwards. We are going to do a colour along. We'll be using a colour along, a draw along. We'll be using the book and we'll be using this page. So let me zoom out. We will be filling this with different seaweeds, maybe a few different trinkets, some nice fish. We'll be drawing it in pencil first and then we'll be inking it. So please remember to bring your drawing pencil, your Fineliners, your eraser for anyone who doesn't yet have your copy of How to Draw Inky Wonderlands. I'll do this. this download will be waiting for you on the Facebook page and on my website. Thank you everybody for being week 1 of Inky Art School. It has been a blast. It's been an emotional ride. Thank you. I can't wait for next week. I've got so many nice things lined up for you. Tuesday's class is going to be a Halloween themed class. I thought about doing it on Halloween itself, but then I was like that, you probably want to do it beforehand so that you can use the thing that you make on Halloween, or have more of them to colour and embellish on Halloween. Also, Tuesday's class I'm going to share on my regular Facebook page. So it'll be on Inky Art School first, and then I'm going to share it over on my Facebook page, because it is a really sweet class, and also so many people didn't make it into Inky Art School for whatever reason. They couldn't get the registration form to work, or they maybe just didn't quite get the text to line up, and they are asking. So you are an elite bunch, but I would like to share that class, so you will see that going out there as well. So tell your friends to hop on and have a look if they're wondering what you've been doing. Thank you. I'm going to go now. I'm going to hop the camera back onto the download. Well, I'll put it back onto the picture that we were doing so you can see that. And then I'll try and disconnect the live feed and end the video in the most professional way that I can. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely weekend. Do some drawing. Do some drawing and have fun. Bye-bye.